I've been in the pursuit of truth and living my truths, as many of you know, since I was very young. I was 23 years old when I joined a religious cult and gave my life up, and I've learned a lot since then. I've learned a lot about religion, spirituality, following someone else's lead, believing I had to have a spiritual leader to follow, and finding my own power. I've given my power away to people, circumstances, love relationships. The most valuable thing in life is when we can claim our own power. And I don't think that you get to that point without a lot of hard knock lessons. At least that was true for me. And I had to keep stumbling along. But finally, over time, I learned, It's like life has a way of presenting the same lesson over and over and over again. And when you can see the pattern, when you can clearly see, oh my gosh, this is the same exact situation again that I've had over and over again, it's a different flavor, but it's the same issue, you can begin to change it. I had a lot of patterns with relationships and with men and with being attracted to people who weren't really good for me. And, giving my power over to that, eventually having to disentangle myself. It's been quite a challenge, actually. I know what I'm talking about when I say that it takes time and effort to reclaim your power. It requires a lot of inner work, a lot of observing yourself and making choices that are different than maybe what you've made in the past. I do think that this tip about seeing the patterns is a really, really key thing to pay attention to. Because once I could see that almost every man I dated had some type of active addiction, whether it was an addiction to drugs, addiction to sex, addiction to, something else. They were not healthy people themselves. And I had this phenomenal ability to be attracted to people who were dysfunctional that way. As a woman, it's sort of historically, we have given our power over to men. The woman is sort of subservient to the man. You have to have a man to be whole. You have to be in that type of wife position. And I'm of the generation where we started to break out of that. And it's still been a challenge. I don't have that support in my life, but I also don't really want it, not the way that it's been, because I want to be in my real female power. And power used in this way doesn't have anything to do with power over someone. It has to do with inner power, and it has to come from a place of inner peace and an inner passion, true passion that has to do with living principles. So it's all these P words, right? Peace, power, passion, principles. I think that that's where true power comes from. And when you have that, it's a very deep core inside of you. And you can stop the habits that weren't helping you. At least for me, that I had sort of like an addictive nature in being obsessed with men, in being attracted to men, not healthy. And I had to eventually, once I saw that pattern over and over and over again, because I lived it over and over again, and I keep hitting my head against the wall. Eventually you do wake up and say, I don't want to do this anymore. And so at that point is when I just stopped it. I stopped dating. I stopped trying to find Mr. Perfect. I stopped that whole dream. Not that it can't be attained, not that healthy relationships can't be attained, but it became very clear to me that I was not going to attain it on the road I was on, because all I could attract was the same broken pattern over and over and over again. And it was heartbreaking. I went through tons of heartbreak, falling in love with people that weren't good for me, and then getting hurt, and then realizing I can't be with this person. And I had a lot of severe experiences, and being attracted to people who had lifestyles that really were never going to work for me. I have continued to work on being in my own power, and it has required a lot of solitude and a lot of time alone. It doesn't mean I want to be alone forever, because I don't. I think it would be lovely to have a relationship with someone that really worked. But it's not my top priority right now, because I'm very aware that if I don't clear up these parts of myself, I'm not in a position to even have a healthy relationship myself, because it only comes on the foundation of me being really in love with myself and stable and balanced. And then I have something to give in a real way. And then I can attract somebody who has that same level of health and maturity. Otherwise, it's this need thing. It's like codependency. Well, I need to be needed, or I need to be with someone who needs me. And it's all based on need instead of love, instead of overflowing. This is something that I think we all want. I mean, Valentine's Day just passed, and for me it was a very quiet day this year. Sometimes looking for love in all the wrong places really just doesn't pay off. I just wanted to get on and present something that I thought probably many people can relate to. And it's all about the energy. An energy exchange on that level of intimacy is it's very important to consider who we're interacting with. For me, it was very important to know that the person I'm choosing to be intimate with in a way like that has an energy that's compatible and is not going to be like toxic for me. Because when you hook up your chakras and your sexual parts and all the parts of yourself with someone, that's a very deep energy exchange. And I want that to be with someone whose energy is a plus. And I want to be able to be a plus for somebody else, so that it's beautiful and it's centered on something ideal and a higher love. So that's it for today. Hope you're following your passion, and I appreciate you checking in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.